Hellfire Club, rejoice! While the coronavirus pandemic delayed the launch of Stranger Things Season 4, the hype is still going strong, and everything is finally coming together. Stranger Things has truly turned upside down now that everything is connected as the producers said they would. While we'd prefer not to wait until July 1st to wrap up the season, the extra time means we'll get 2 finales, and it seems like our hearts will be in desperate need of it. Stranger Things 4 Part 1 concludes with Episode 7, which is jam-packed with action as everyone tries to save each other while also discovering the truth about Vecna, the Russians, and the military. Keeping up with everything that's going on at the same time, though, may be difficult. Don't worry, we've come up with a list of everything you could have missed so you won't be left in the dark when Part 2 arrives. Here's all you need to know about Stranger Things 4 Part 1 finale. Okay, first things first, Steve. Of course, we have to dive straight in to check how our favorite babysitter turned super hot swimmer is doing. The last time we saw Steve, he was alone in the parallel dimension after discovering the Watergate with a swarm of little monsters chasing him. Fortunately for him, Nancy, Robin, and Eddie come just in time to save him before he loses too much blood. When they notice additional monsters after them, they decide to flee to the forest in the hopes of being hidden by the trees. While Eddie receives the lowdown on everything going on in the Upside Down, the rest of the crew tries to gather and devise a strategy for surviving and escaping. Nancy remembers that the Upside Down is a replica of their world and that she has handguns in her room. So the crew rushes over to her room to fetch the weapons they need to defend themselves. Why? Because Nancy knows that the Upside Down is an exact replica of their own universe. But there was a catch in this instance. When they arrive, Nancy is shocked when she finds out all of her weapons are missing, which obviously leads to panic because they have no way to defend themselves. You see, even though the Upside Down is a carbon copy of Hawkins, for some reason, it's from 2 years ago, and Nancy got her hands on some guns after this time period, which is why they weren't there. Thankfully, our favorite babysitter turned super hot swimmer discovers that he can hear Dustin and the others, so he tries to interact with them, but they're unable to hear him. Which brings us to Dustin, Max, and Lucas being in big trouble with the cops after misleading them. At this point, Dustin and Lucas discover that Vecna isn't killing teenagers at random, but he's actually attempting to create portals between the Upside Down and their reality. During all that, Erica observes the lights in the home flickering as they put 2 and 2 together. If you might have missed it, Dustin immediately recognizes it as an SOS because he knows Morse code. Meanwhile, Nancy is equally smart because she remembers that Will was able to connect with them through the lights in the Upside Down and comes up with a plan to control the lights to deliver a message. So they proceed to Eddie's, where Chrissy was murdered, to attempt to make it home now that they know there are open gates and spots where Vecna has killed someone. When Max is done being interrogated, she, Lucas, and Erica escape the house to meet the Upside Down gang at Eddie's and help them return home. Murray's karate skills. After the Season 3 conclusion, which aired in July of 2019, one of the biggest questions was if Jim Hopper was truly dead. The truth was revealed in the first Season 4 teaser, which was posted in February 2020, and showed Hopper in Russia after he appeared to vanish in a weird machine. When we last checked in with our favorite sheriff, he had discovered that he was being held captive in a Russian jail with another Demogorgon. In order to rescue him, Murray pretended to be Yuri and took Joyce and Murray in to be questioned by the KGB, and they were successful in infiltrating Kamachka. The biggest surprise here was how good Murray's fighting skills were throughout this whole sequence. Everybody was shocked. In case you didn't know, Murray's actor Gelman actually took his character's newfound passion for karate seriously. The actor was so invested in his role that he actually trained for 2 to 3 months before the production was halted due to the pandemic. With his newfound confidence, Murray and Joyce arrived just in time to save Hopper. As Hopper was trying to fight off the Demogorgon, Murray used his pistol against the general in an attempt to persuade them to open some of the gates so Hopper and Enzo could escape. But when they got to the control room, everyone was against it. Murray attacks everyone in a fury, showcasing his karate skills once again, while Joyce presses all the buttons in hopes of unlocking the gate. When one of the rear doors opens, Hopper and Enzo are able to flee, and Hopper fires the blazing spear at the Demogorgon in an attempt to eliminate it once and for all. In case you missed it, the Demogorgon was still alive and we still don't know what happened to it. Will the Demogorgon unleash its fury on Joyce, Murray, and Hopper in an attempt to stop them from escaping? Or will it wreak havoc on all of Russia? We'll just have to wait to find out in Part 2. The Game of Thrones designers helped make Vecna's suit. Staying on topic, the Demogorgon was the first terrifying monster from the Upside Down to appear on the show back in Season 1. The show didn't have as much money back then, so there was a guy in a suit, which was exactly what they wanted. So when it came to designing Vecna for this season, they wanted to bring back the man-in-suit concept, but they need someone incredible to create the costume in order to pull it off. For starters, they were inspired by the Chernobyl miniseries from 2019. This is how long ago they came up with the concept. With all the radiation burn victim effects, Chernobyl was just broadcast on HBO, which was incredible. Can you tell who was behind the suits? It was none other than Barry Gower, who also created the Night King in Game of Thrones. Naturally, the Duffer Brothers assumed he was the person they were looking for. And what was the end result? In the end, we got a mix of The Night King and Chernobyl. Also, did you know there are just 5 scenes in the whole 13-hour runtime that don't feature a person in a suit? The actor's makeup took an average of 9 hours to complete, and the end result was amazing. Nancy's discovery. Back in Hawkins and the Upside Down, both groups gather in Eddie's trailer and discover that their theories are correct. They then continue to ascend the portal with a sheet rope and return everyone to Hawkins. It's Nancy's time after Robin and Eddie have successfully passed through. When she attempts to cross, she appears to stumble, but it's subsequently shown that she was actually under Vecna's trance. But why her? Because Nancy wasn't one of the usual people that Vecna would target. Since his objective was to attack emotionally damaged people, maybe he saw her struggling to choose between Steve and Jonathan and saw that as an opportunity to put her in a trance. Who knows? Or maybe it was because Nancy started to experience flashbacks from Barb's death, emphasizing her guilt for the murder of her best friend. When she first sees the Creel house, though, everything changes. And this, of course, connects to 11, who's currently attempting to flee the Hawkins lab in her memories. Peter tells her that he's unable to leave because of a neck implant, so 11 uses her powers to take it out of him just as they're about to go, but security soon catches up with them. Back on the main floor, they find themselves encircled in a hallway where Peter displays his own abilities and leads them to a nearby closet, where he shows her his 001 tattoo by pushing up his sleeve. 11 ultimately discovers that he is one and that he possesses the same abilities as her. He instructs her to remain in the closet until he returns. But Elle enters the Rainbow Room after hearing sirens and shouts from a nearby walkie-talkie and discovers that One has murdered everyone else in the lab. This was the moment when One revealed that he's Henry Creel. One invites Elle to join him in his attempt to take over the planet and restore balance, but after seeing the destruction he's caused, she resolves to fight back. Back in Elle's recollections, both she and One are noticeably shocked when they find she has become powerful enough to stop him. In fact, she became so powerful that she was able to open a doorway to the Upside Down, where Henry, Peter, One is transported, and the scene fades to dark as he transforms into Vecna. This scene proves that everything that we've seen so far in Stranger Things started from this very moment. This portal that Elle created to defeat One is what led to the Demogorgon and everything else before Stranger Things 4. Why was Max running up that hill? Season 4 was a good moment to start tying up some loose ends, since the Duffer Brothers have described it as the beginning of the end. However, Stranger Things wouldn't be Stranger Things without adding some new elements. This season, Max's trajectory of loss, sadness, and numbness was quite moving. Running up that hill was a powerful metaphor for her. What made them choose the song that's running through everybody's minds, though? What was the significance of music in rescuing people from Vecna's trance? Although music wasn't originally planned for the season, the producers knew Max would be cursed and needed a mechanism for her to overcome the spell. Even in catatonic states, music has the ability to reach almost anybody, even in the real world with real mental patients. As a result, whatever music was chosen had to be flawless. And by flawless, we mean that the music had to be cinematic in some way, since the producers recognized that the moment when Max is sprinting through the mind layer needed to have a cinematic sweep and build to it. The scene had to be super emotional, and Kate Bush's lyrics fit the bill perfectly. How's 11 so talkative in Season 4? As you may or may not recall, 11 has had very little interaction with the outside world in Season 1 of Stranger Things, and she essentially doesn't know how to talk. The other characters teach her how to talk after she escapes Hawkins' lab and joins Mike, Dustin, and Lucas, and subsequently Jim Hopper. She uses relatively few words even then. In the Season 4 flashbacks, we see the 11 from Season 1 speaking complete phrases, which has surprised many people. Why did 11 speak great English in flashbacks from Season 1 if she couldn't say a single word when the program first aired? When 11 first fled and encountered Mike in the group, she couldn't talk. So why is she able to speak whole phrases in flashbacks in Season 4 all of a sudden? Some argue that we are witnessing her memories, not the current timeline, and that this is a plot hole or a deliberate decision. Many people keep posting about 11 not being able to speak in Season 1, but in Stranger Things, she talks perfectly in flashbacks from Season 4. Traumatic events can cause changes in memory and speaking habits. It's possible that 11, unlike the other children in the lab, didn't know how to talk from the start since she was isolated from birth. Is there a plot hole here? Is it her memories that's causing the flashbacks to change? We'll probably find out on July 1st or maybe during the 5th and final season. Drop a comment in our comment section and tell us what you think. That concludes today's video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content. Until next time.